Greetings and welcome to week 14 of Intro to Addictions. This is our last week that we're going to meet together as a class. Who knew? We're going to do two chapters this last week, the last two chapters in the text, and the last two chapters are on prevention, first of all, and then the second chapter is treatment. So we've pretty much gone through the encyclopedia of addictive substances the first 13 weeks of the class. And now we're going to look at the last part. We're going to look at, how to not get in this shape in the first place. And if you do, what can we do about it? We're also finishing up the last chapter of the fix, which of course also takes, it's interesting, it's closing out the book, it's the final chapter. And of course, he takes a totally different view than the medical models and psychological models offered in the regular textbook. Lots of chemical names, lots of drug names, lots of drug uses. The treatment one for sure is pretty techy. Don't worry about it. You want to get, I'm not that concerned with the individual drugs used to treat different substance addictions. I'm more interested in the whys and the hows. So next week is the final. It'll be almost exactly like the midterm, but I stayed away from questions where, I just said, what does chemical XYZ do to chemical ABC? So I'm much more interested in the theory behind why this stuff may or may not work. Speaking of theories, discussion board this week, it's entitled What Happened to Dare, and we've talked about Dare in some of the earlier chapters. Feel free, especially because this is the last week, to kind of wander off though. I don't want you to get off topic of prevention or treatment, but you don't have to stay right on top of Dare. If there's other things that have spiked your interest, you found some good reading stuff, you've got some good discussion stuff, if we wander off, that's perfectly fine for this last week. But it is an interesting question. I know we've touched what's happened to Dare, and we'll certainly talk about it in this chapter. Like I say, next week is finals. We will not be meeting as a class. I'll probably throw an empty discussion board out there just in case you want to check in and say something. I know that I tend to want to check it every morning and see what's going on with y'all. But other than that, the only thing you've got to do next week is just purely the final. And I'll turn that on at the beginning of the week, and you have till the end of the week. You got till midnight Friday to get it done. If you look in the syllabus, you can see how many points you need for what kind of a grade. If you think that you need a few more points somewhere, and you're missing a paper or two, now's a good time to get that in. I'm really hoping not to read 200 papers the last week of class, but if you're just short something and you didn't do a paper, feel free to get it in. So, good discussion last week. It's been fun. This has really been a great class. Thank you. So, let's get into treatment, prevention, and I'll see you in class.